Hello. Today I'm going to discuss the competitive analysis I completed on the party tent rental industry with regards to our company, Big Top Party Rentals, and how our business will fit into that market. With the party tent rental industry, many consumers are not spending as much as they were previous to the recession or even leading up to the recession. Really before 2006, consumers were spending a lot more, more of their discretionary spending, a lot of their budget they were allotting to discretionary spending. But since 2006, that hasn't been the case, and especially since the recession hit. As a result, between 2006 and 2010, revenue fell annually between about 0.3%. It doesn't seem like a lot, but if you have that consistently for 4 or 5 years, that's really going to add up. But since 2010, demand has started to recover. It's very slow, but it is starting to recover. It is going to continue to be slow. It's forecasted to the growth to be slow through 2016. So not for too much longer. It is gaining speed, but it's still very slow. So really the stronger confidence by the consumer in the economy and higher incomes that we're starting to see out in the marketplace for discretionary spending, those are eventually going to benefit the industry. How long that's really going to take is debatable, but we're looking at least until 2016 before anything's really going to be ramped up. The industry really isn't lacking in revenue. It's just not as strong as it could be. And with fewer players out in the marketplace, those bigger players in the market are going to see bigger revenue growth than smaller companies. Now I want to turn the conversation over to industry trends and opportunities. There are 4 items I really want to discuss that are really impacting the industry. First, as I already talked about, the recession. The recession really has consumers cautious in their discretionary spending. They, like I said before, they are spending, but they're being more wise about it. They're looking at, okay, is this a good price for the item that I want to spend my money on? Because they don't want to feel like they're wasting the little bit of money that they are allotting to spending on discretionary items, such as events. Those businesses that are stronger, that are bigger, those have been able to survive. And a lot of it has to come with, they have a larger inventory, they have better products, they have better services, or all of the above. So those smaller guys, some of those operators, they just couldn't continue to operate. A lot of the margins in general across the board have been shrinking. And for a larger company, those margins, those shrinking margins, weren't as big of an impact as maybe some of the smaller operators. Those smaller operators, because of their shrinking margins, they already had slim margins to begin with. And as a result, they couldn't continue. So they had to close their doors. And even though there was a shrinking marketplace for businesses, those larger businesses grabbed up that market share those smaller businesses gave up because they went out of business, and it only made their businesses even stronger. The third thing is that consumers, they want a one-stop shop. They want some place that's going to give them more than just tents and chairs. Businesses really have to learn to diversify. And as we'll talk about when I talk about my competitive matrix that I did on our 4 big competitors in the area, they're diversified. They offer, more than, like I said, more than just tents and chairs. So in order to really be a big player in this industry, we need to make sure that we're diversifying, because that's the only way we're going to survive. Price cutting is also very common among competitors, and they're doing this to stay competitive. If you've got the same items as another person down the street and your prices are better, the consumer is probably going to come to you, because that's how the consumer is now since the recession. They're looking for the best deal with the best services and the best products. And if you can get them in the door with your prices, then if the other guys reduce their prices more and your service is better, your products are better, they're going to continue to go to you, but that's going to get them in the door, is that initial pricing. A lot of businesses are favoring tents that are coated in vinyl because it reduces wear and it helps kind of offset the fact that those tents, those chairs, those items that are imported from China are not at the quality that they should be. So they're coating their tents in vinyl to reduce that wear, to compensate for that. Next, I want to discuss the industry potentials and its characteristics. So between 2011 and 2012, revenue increased 2.2%. That was just after we started to see that increase. That slow increase, but we saw that increase in revenue. From now until 2016, it's expected that we're going to see 2.7% annual increase across the board. So those bigger companies are probably going to see a bigger increase just because they have more market share. Warmer climates are able to see a year-round revenue because they can have bookings year-round. Colder climates like we're in really only see about 7 months. So those 7 months we really need to take advantage of those 7 months. And those months that we can't generate revenue, we need to also be smart about it and branch out and figure out what we're going to be able to do in order to be able to generate revenue during those off-season months. Expenses and costs are minimal as well. Really only going to have to worry about fuel, insurance, rent, vehicles, operating costs, wages, possibly in the future, any additional items that we plan on adding to our inventory or replacing pieces of our inventory. Tents can last up to 20 years if they're properly maintained and they're higher quality. But if you're going to get something that's cheap from China or from overseas, where you're basically just getting something that's cheap, it's only going to last you 5-10 years, and you're going to have to replace it. As far as our competition goes, there's quite a few businesses that compete with us directly and indirectly. These include the direct competition includes other party rental companies, concert and event promotions, wedding services, bounce house businesses, banquet supply and rentals, birthday supply and rentals, event and party planners, corporate meeting planners, disc jockey services, and party entertainers. Indirectly is linen services, tool and equipment rentals, and even swimming pool stores, fireworks stores, hiking and outdoor equipment, parks and recreation areas, and party supply stores. They don't seem like that they would be in direct competition with us, but just as our industry, people in our industry are trying to diversify, so are people in other industries, and they're coming into our industry. So if we can't combat that, then we're not going to be as successful because there's a lot of people coming into this space so that they can branch out and diversify and be that one-stop shop for the consumer. With the competitive matrix, there's really 4 major players in the industry in our area that we have to contend with. That would be Buffalo Party Rental, Rent Right Now, AJ's Party Tents, and ABC Hardware. ABC Hardware is a tool and equipment, just as I said on the previous slide, but they do a lot of tent rentals. They do chair rentals. As you see, they have 33 different tents, sidewalls, staging, food equipment, inflatables. Their big thing is bounce houses, whereas the other 3, they don't really focus as much on bounce houses, inflatables, even if they have them at all. Buffalo Party Rental is the largest competitor in our area, and they're the ones we're going to have to contend with. And as you see, their prices come in under what we're advertising our prices at. And they have just about everything you can think of to have a party outdoors, staging, lighting, decorations, linens, you can go through and see there is a lot. They have 38 different types of tents, and their biggest tent it's 80 feet by 80 feet. I mean, that's huge. So our biggest tent is 30 by 45. So if we want to survive, they're going to be the biggest person we have to contend against. Our prices pretty much come in a little more expensive than Buffalo Party Rental and AJ's Party Tents for comparable prices, comparable items, because they don't all have the same thing that we have. But ABC Hardware comes in a little bit higher with some. The biggest discrepancy I saw was with our Jumbo Track. Our Jumbo Track we're offering at $1,000. Everybody else is, $480, $450, $675. That is something we're going to definitely have to rethink when we publish our prices. With specials, ABC Hardware is the only one that I saw that had any kind of advertised specials. They have 8 different packages and they have an add-on package on top of it. Delivery, only 2 right now in AJ's party tents. They don't say anything on the website about delivery. ABC Hardware does delivery, but it's not on tables and it's in chairs and tents. It's on inflatables. I believe this is recently that they changed this because I rented from them a few years ago and they delivered. And now you wouldn't be able to get a delivery from them. So they changed their policy on that. And Buffalo Party Rental, their prices vary, so nothing's advertised. So if we want to differentiate from us in the competition, that's going to be one of the key things, because in advertising those prices. If we don't advertise those prices, people are not going to realize whether or not they're getting a deal until it's too late and they've already committed to something. And then the last slide just shows my references for all of that. Thank you.